Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Clash of the Correspondents. On this episode, James, we have none other than your Tottenham compadre, Ricky Saunders, joining us, fresh from last night's Champions League football. Did you watch it, Ricky?
Yes, thank you. So
I put my steel toe cap boots on for this episode on purpose. And we also have at FPL Seagull, Sam, our Brighton correspondent. Sam, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, excellent. So you guys have got the early kickoff on Saturday. So excited to watch that game because it'll be obviously televised.
Right, stop this. Let's get the fucking jokes out of the way, right?
What's that? 7-Up.
Right. James
has just pulled out a can of 7-Up.
Yeah, this is what we do as Spurs fans, right? We can take the piss out of ourselves.
7-Up. So, did someone give this to you today, or did you buy it specifically for the show?
No, I just stole it from
the tuck shop. There we go. So yeah, it was we're off the back of yesterday's Champions League football, which was a little disappointing for Spurs, obviously with the 7-2.
A little bit disappointing.
Well, yeah, but for what it matters, you're not going to win the Champions League anyway, or the chances are so slim. So let's just move on. The league is so much more important. I'm interested with this Clash of the Correspondents chat for a couple of reasons. Spurs have a handful of assets that are really, really interesting, Kane, Son being the two. And you are more than likely going to finish third in the league this season. Most pundits will say that. Most pundits would say that. Maybe not now.
Me and Ricky are like, I don't really know anymore.
Well, 2 weeks ago, people would have said that. And on the flip side, we've got Sam talking about Brighton, who, for all intents and purposes, have done so much better than I thought they would, and yet it hasn't translated into results on the pitch in the way that we would have thought based on the performances. So there's just so much to talk about. James, where shall we start? Spurs.
Ricky, I'm gonna hit you some questions here, pal.
Go on.
Are you worried about the manager?
In what, with his mental state, or the fact he's still going to be there? I think he's still going to be there. I don't think Levy's going to sack him because the problems are probably a Levy's own making. But I'm worried about him because he's under a lot of pressure. He doesn't seem to be handling it very well. There's been a lot of talk during the week about Eriksen Vertonghen. I actually see today that Eriksen's come on to Twitter and said it was bollocks. But there's a lot of talk about disruption in the dressing room. Sissoko last night was on French TV saying he doesn't really understand the system he's being asked to play, and there's players that aren't happy. So yes, with regards to that, he's a very stubborn man, and I think if he's told not to do something, he's going to do it more, which is quite worrying.
Yeah. What do you think?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah, you asked that question. Is he worried about the manager? Are you worried about him leaving or being sacked?
I'm not worried about him being sacked at all.
No, you don't think they'll sack him?
So
him leaving.
And I'm not worried about him leaving either. Not mid-season anyway. I mean, I would.
So you're worried about his mental state?
Have complete faith in Pochettino, which has been built up over 5-6 years now. There are some things tactically that are hugely concerning me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a massive fan of this diamond, for example. But for half hour last night, we were excellent. Like, honestly, for half hour, we were the better side and giving them a proper game. We go behind, we're a little unfortunate. Okay, you have to lift your heads. Comes out second half, he's changed the system. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Even though I'm not a fan of it, I didn't get why he changed. And that lasted about 10 minutes, and then we're 4-1 down, and he's changing it again and chasing the game. And I've spoke a few times on the recent pods saying, we're not in the best place. Get a team on the pitch and a structure on the pitch that you trust and stick with it. Because all this chopping and changing why it's not going well is not helping.
Yep.
And he has to take some responsibility for that.
I think one of the things that Sissoko said last night in his interview with a French TV, the diamonds tires out the players very, very quickly. And maybe that's why Pochettino kind of brings it in, takes it out. I don't know. I mean, they shouldn't be knackered after half an hour, but none of the players seem to be a fan of it, or very few of them are a fan of it at all. And one of the things that's kind of made us stand out from the other teams around us is our ability to change formations within a game effortlessly. But it seems to be at the minute we're playing formation like whereas before it was a 4-4-2 and whatever else. So now it's diamond. It's a 4-2-3-1, not 4-4-2. We're going from a diamond to a 4-4-2 as we did last night, and it's confusing everybody, and no one really knows what their job is. It's leaving us massively exposed at the back as well. There's no certainly with a diamond. There's no proper holding midfield player. Winks is kind of playing at the base of the diamond, but he's not there as a holding midfield, or he shouldn't be there as a holding midfield player. This formation, I don't get it either, and I've heard you talking about it, and I've spoken about it as well. I don't get what he's trying to achieve. He's this kind of experimental stuff should be done in pre-season, not in Champions League games and not in league games, and I don't know. I don't know what his thought process is, and that does worry me. And I agree with you. I'm not worried about him being sacked or even leaving, but I'm worried about the decisions he's making. Very strange tactical, very strange starting lineups, even stranger benches from time. I don't know.
I think the problem is, Ricky, and Sam, we'll get onto you in a sec, mate. I think the problem is, Ricky, like me and you are in full support of Pochettino, and I think the people who go to regularly Spurs are. But if I was to remove myself from the position now and just listen to what you're saying, which I'm trying to do, it's an issue, and he's part of the problem at the moment.
Yeah.
It's concerning.
I think it's very exciting. I think he feels let down by Levy in the summer over some of the players that should have gone and didn't, and he wanted to bring in. And it's almost like he's thrown his toys out of the pram and said, well, I'm just going to do things my way then. I'm not going to pretend I know what's going on, but it is very concerning, and he does take or should shoulder a lot of the blame, because a lot of this is down to tactics and his poor tactics this season, and have been poor, and there's no way we can really get away from that.
With all of that said, Sam, you must be looking forward to a straightforward victory at home this week.
No, I'm worried about the inevitable response that teams have to a battering. Out, we'll be the other end of a battering ourselves.
Tell us about your season so far. We talked in the pre-season and now that Potter's settled down, the change in formation, 3 centre-backs now with wide wing-backs and what have you. Have you been happy with the season so far?
It's a strange one, because the way we've been playing with the 3 at the back, it's complete opposite to what we saw last season. We've got possession, we're attacking, we look the better team in most of our games so far, but it's up until the final third. We get into the final third, we're just either not getting our shots off or just not clinical enough, which we saw against West Ham, Burnley, Newcastle, all games we could have won, I think. But last season we weren't great to watch. We were pretty poor. But at this point, we were quite high up in the table, scraping those 1-0 wins and stuff. So
a little unlucky with injury with attacking players as well. In the recent weeks, and I mean Trossard, if you can get him back again and what have you, then that would be a big help. I'm in agreement with you about Brighton, and you look at that clubs like that. But I'm a West Ham fan. I've seen it so many times where we've been in and around at the bottom. And then people say, you know what, you guys are too good to go down. And I hate that phrase. And I almost feel like with Brighton, you guys are, I'm going to say, are too good to go down based on the football you're playing and the squad you have.
Yeah.
When 7 games become 10 games, 10 games becomes 14 games, and then you get to Christmas and like, shit, we're still only like one or two victories away from dropping into the bottom 3. It starts getting nervous at that time. And I really hope that doesn't happen for you guys this season, where it's that we're too good to go down, but somehow just keep getting sucked into it.
Yeah. I mean, whichever way it's spun, we're playing good football in that, but it's been 6 games now without a win. We've got some tougher games coming up, so I don't know. The pressure's starting to build a tiny bit. The fans are starting to question, we're not getting the wins that we should be winning. The games we've played really well, but we're not getting anything from it. And hopefully Trossard is back for the game Saturday, because he looked brilliant first few games of the season. So to have him back would be brilliant.
Yeah, I'm grateful for VAR because otherwise you would have taken the 3 points off us with Trossard.
Yeah.
Sam, what's the
VAR a few times?
what's the mood like generally? Like, are the fans happier at the moment?
I think the fans that really backed Houghton and said we should have kept him when he got sacked are kind of saying like, I told you so. This it was not going to turn out as good. We should have been happy with Houghton. But I think genuinely people are happy with the way it's going, and soon it feels like it's all just going to click. We're going to get those wins, and we're going to start scoring some goals, hopefully.
Yeah, starting game week 9, hopefully. Sam, tell us a little bit about the guys at the back. I've only seen you live the once, and the pod listeners who listened to the main pod last week will know I was really impressed with what I saw at Newcastle and the way you played. Essentially, what you already covered, everything spot on until you got into the box, basically. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a bit about the 3 centre halves and the wing backs, and I guess for those who may not know, tell us a bit particularly about like Burn and Webster and how good are they?
Well, Burn and Webster in particular bring the ball out of defence so well. I think that's why, one of the reasons why Duffy hasn't been starting the last few games, because when the ball's at his feet, he's not as good as Webster or Burn. Burn, and they're almost like overlapping centre-backs. They drive forward with the ball, and they're allowed to do that because they've still got the security of the other 2 centre-backs who stay back. So they can kind of drive with the ball out and support the wing-backs. It's Webster did it a few times against Newcastle as well. I think at one point he popped up in the opposition box and squared it to Maupay, and it's strange to see our centre-backs that far forward, but it seems to be working well. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I can only really go off that game and reports of others. They should have beat yourselves. You won comfortably at Watford. I think results have gone differently. Brighton would be top half at the moment. And I don't think, with respect, Sam, I don't think Brighton will finish top half. It's a balancing act at the moment between a major shift tactically and in style from what we were seeing last season to now putting the results on the board, because we've highlighted this run, which essentially at the moment, with the way we're playing, you can include the weekend's fixture and then Villa away, Everton at home, Norwich at home, and then walk into another really tough 4. And suddenly, if you don't do well in the next 4, then suddenly you're looking at sort of game week 16, 17, and you'd be in the bottom 3. So it's a balancing act at the moment. I don't believe Brighton would have more points if Houghton was in charge.
No, you're right. It is the balancing. I think this was always going to happen in some sort of way when you change from, like, the last season, the really structured 4-4-2 to a more flexible 3-4-3. You got centre-backs pushing forward. So I think this is going to happen. But hopefully we can start getting the points on the board, because it's all well and good playing nice football, but I'd much prefer
points win prizes.
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, to sort of put it on the complete flip, look at what happened to say with De Boer at Palace.
Yeah,
when he went in and completely tried to change their style, and within 4 games he was out the door, right? Whereas at least you can see that progress. I think in Brighton, the weakness at the moment is in the attacking areas that don't score enough goals. But then we've already highlighted a player who we think might turn out to be your star, and he's been missing for the last few weeks. How good is Trossard, mate?
Trossard, I think he's brilliant. He's got so much confidence, and we don't really have another player like him. When we first signed him, he was compared to Eden Hazard, not in terms of quality, but in terms of the way he plays. The ball at his feet, dribbling, I don't think any defender.
He's a very direct player, isn't he? He's always looking to attack the goal.
Yeah, and if we have a front 3 of Maupay, Gross and Trossard, the goals have to come soon, because those 3, I think, would work really well.
No Glenn Murray in there?
I love Glenn Murray, but and he's a good option to have.
He can play for the over 40s,
completely
right?
Different. But
I need to ask you guys, did you watch Potter's interview on Saturday or on Match of the Day? Or do you have any memory of it? Because I didn't know if it was just me. I mean, it was Saturday night. I had a couple of beers, but it reminded me of. Do you remember the Steve McLaren interview when he was that weird Dutch accent? Graham Potter was. You need to check it back on the BBC, because he had this weird like European. He was speaking English in a weird European accent. Or it could be just me, but I
really want to know what you were drinking.
Yeah, I remember watching it. I thought, I need to raise this on the main pod with James, and we didn't, because we talked about so much other shit. I don't recall this at all. Nah, but I thought why is it reminded me of Steve McLaren when he was talking in that weird accent that one time, and stuck with him. But I don't know. YouTube it and then tell me if I'm talking nonsense.
You've just wasted a minute of this podcast.
No, it was important when it was happening at the time. I thought I'd discovered comedy gold.
From an FPL perspective, Sam, you've had a good start to the season. I think you're about 6th in the Correspondent League at the moment, I believe, doing well.
Yeah.
65 points weekend gone. There's quite a few assets at Brighton I think we can consider. I know you've got Montoya at the moment. I know you were raging when he missed the game the other week with tonsillitis. Is he a lock? Is he a lock now at right wing back? Is that first choice for him?
Yeah, he should be the first choice. He's the one with the least competition, but we've got Charlotto coming back from injury. I'm not sure if he'll work his way into the first team. You never know with Potter; he mixes it up all the time. But I feel like he's pretty nailed for now, and he's been playing well as well, to be fair.
One of the players I was considering as an alternative to Cantwell before the Newcastle game was Solly March.
Yeah.
Who's 4.9 million, has an ownership of 0.4%. Trossard's 0.2, by the way.
Yeah, injury will dictate that.
Is Solly March, do you think at full fitness, is he the first choice at left wing back, would you say?
Yes, I think he is. At full fitness, yeah. He seems to work really well in that wing back position. He's just as good defensively as he is going forward. Bernardo probably competes for that, but we haven't seen too much of Bernardo so far this season. I think they're both injured at the moment, so Alzate's been starting at wing back, the young player. But if March gets back to full fitness, I think he would be first choice. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel really sorry for your missus, because she's sandwiched right between you and Ricky in the Correspondents League, and if there's one place I would never want to be, it's in between the two of you. I thought
you was talking about Sam's missus.
No, I was talking about yours. But Ricky, you're doing well this season in FPL as well. You're not doing too badly. 402, is it? That's 8 points so far. So you've broken the 400.
Yeah, 402 points. That's got me just outside the top 700k, which is not ideally where I'd want to be, but it's still early part of the season, so it's there's still plenty. At the minute, I mean, a good week, and you can shoot up the rankings 500,000 places quite
very
easily. So.
Ricky, tell the listeners your opinion on Serge Aurier.
For those that don't know, I wildcarded in game week 6, and I bought in Serge Aurier, and I thought 4.9. I thought it was a bit of a good move. He scored against Leicester in the first half, and I was actually on a train at the time, and I was kind of jumping up and down a little bit. Then he got ruled out, and everything's gone downhill since then. No, he's a joke. I can't put it any other way. He wanted to leave in the summer. Really wish he had done. He looks good going forward. He puts in some good crosses. Probably the best crosser maybe we've got at the club. It plays at fullback.
Jesus Christ, Ricky!
Oof.
Plays at fullback.
You got a team with the likes of Christian Eriksen.
I mean, no.
Who plays at fullback? I did say that. But as a defender, I mean, he was at fault for at least 2, if not 3 goals last night. He's an absolute liability. If he never plays for us again, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And he is my transfer out this week without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, well, that was the answer we were looking for. I mean, obviously, he's suspended this weekend. Would you advise anyone to hold on? I guess you're saying no.
No. Absolutely not. No, he's rubbish.
I feel like I want to record what you just said, and then later in the season, if it ever comes up that Aurier goes on a run and people ask us if they should buy him, we can just hit play on Ricky's little rant.
How do we fix the fullback problem, Ricky?
About £50 million in transfer window, I reckon.
I think we need more than that.
Yeah. Each player that you need to buy, really.
Yeah, look, I think look, we all love Danny, but I think Ben Davies has got to start on the left and be the main one. He's just signed a new contract. He's committed to the club, and as much as we love Danny, he's not. He wanted to. Well, I don't think he wanted to leave, but he was trying to be sold, and that's obviously going to affect his thinking. So Ben Davies has got to play on the left, and on the right, I actually quite like Foyt on the right. If I'm being honest, I think he offers a bit more than Walker Peters. But one of them two, and Ben Davies and Sergio Aurier, never anywhere near the squad ever again.
Sissoko right back.
You know what? I've heard you say a few times that Sissoko's the best right back in the club.
It don't say a lot for the rest, does it?
No, it doesn't, in all honesty. Look, he can do a job there. He doesn't offer as much, possibly going forward. His attacking play isn't as good as some others there. But look, at the minute, we need defenders. We need people actually going to stop goals going in.
Yeah.
And he's a hard bloke to get past. So yeah, I wouldn't be against that in the slightest.
At the moment, I need people on the pitch I can trust.
Yeah, and I trust Sissoko.
Yeah,
this is the thing. I don't really. Walker Peters has got a mistake in him. Foyt is he's a walking yellow card at times, and he's got a lot of mistakes. We need a little bit of stability right now, and I'd be happy for Sissoko. Look, we're overloaded in midfield, and one of the reasons why we're playing this silly bloody diamond formation is to accommodate Ndombele, Winks, and Sissoko midfield. If we can push one of them out to a different position, we can maybe go back to a 4-2-3-1.
Which gets us an extra attacking player in the team as well.
Absolutely.
Going back to that, so you're sitting there like with Lamella, Lucas, and Ericsson on the bench last night, and you're hampering yourselves because you're trying to. The biggest strength when we're on form, you see that in the first half hour last night. Like, we can play when we've got the ball, and we was
really good in the first half hour.
We've got attacking threat, and you're limiting yourself to having to play with Harry coming short and Sonny going in behind like last night.
It's not effective.
I mean, no. But then, having said that, it was playing well, and then he changed it, and it didn't work. So, what do you think of... the first thing I would do at the weekend, Ricky, is put Eric Dyer in the team.
Yeah, we said this... no, it wasn't me and you, it was me and my mate. Dyer's got to come in, absolutely. The options he gives us when he's in the side are brilliant. He can go and fill in at right back or centre back. He can slip into defence really easily. 100%. Dyer's got. Well, I say got to start. He probably won't start because he's had so little games, but he's got to start being part of the team with a view to getting him playing 90 minutes very soon.
Sam. What hopes for this weekend? You've surely got to just go for it, really, haven't you? Attack them. Wounded animal, just go in for the kill. Because if you score early, obviously, it's not the kind of game where you should be sitting back and thinking, okay, there's going to be a backlash from Spurs here. I think you've got to go for it.
Can I dive in first, Sam?
Yeah.
Best thing that'll happen for Sam is we score first.
You think so?
Seems to be the worst thing we do.
I mean, you want to be playing on the front foot on Saturday.
Yeah. I think we'll go for it, like we have done at home so far this season. I think it's set up to be a really good game, actually.
What do you predict the score to be, being realistic and unbiased? What should we ask all the correspondents to do when they do come on? But as hard as it is,
I don't like predicting scores. I still think Spurs will win. 2-1.
That's his place as a correspondent, confirmed for next season as well.
Nice to tease it out of the way. I'd have to agree with you. What are your thoughts, Ricky? What would you be happy with this weekend?
Not to concede 7, it would make me happy. we need to win. We've got to put last night's result out of the mind as quickly as possible, and if we lose on Saturday, it's just going to make, especially going into an international break as well. We've got to win. 3 points is an absolute must. I don't really care how we get it. I don't really care how we play to a certain extent, but I think it's going to actually be a good performance. I think that will be a bit of a wake-up call, not just for the players but for the manager as well. Stop fanning around the formations, play your best team in the best position, and I'm going 3-1, I reckon.
Yeah, I feel like it will, in the end, be a comfortable win for you guys. Like 3-1 is probably a fair score prediction, but I don't think it'll be easy.
Sorry, Sergio, it'll possibly be more comfortable scoreline than it will be in actual
performance.
Play.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I think it'll be a much tougher game. But I feel like, with Sonny and Kane, the firepower eventually will tell. But I think it's going to be quite a tough game. If it goes deep into the second half and it's still 0-0 or 1-1 and very tight, then I think it'll get a little more nervy. Then it may not fall that way potentially. It's also depend on the conditions, right? I don't know what it was like in the end yesterday, but it was pissing down with rain most of the day. If it's a horrible day down on the south coast, then the conditions could affect the game, in my opinion.
I'm going 3-3.
3-3. That's a bold prediction. If ever I heard that.
At half-time.
And what makes you think that? Your leaky defence?
I like what I've seen of Brighton. I don't think they'll change the way they're playing. I think they've got a tactical setup which not a lot of people seem to be locking on, has got similarities with Sheffield United at the moment. And I think it's a tactical setup we haven't faced yet, and I think it genuinely could cause us some problems. I think if we play 4-2-3-1 at the weekend and Eric Dyer's in the team, I think we'll win comfortably.
Well, as comfortable can be, right?
That's where we're at. We need Eric Dyer in the team.
Wow. And on that bombshell, as Jeremy Clarkson would say.
Ricky, where do you think Brighton will finish in the league?
I can't remember what I put on the prediction, but I think I had them quite high, or highish. I like Potter's style of play, and I like his attacking intent. There's definitely three worse teams. They're not gonna be relegated. Probably not even close. I'm 14th, 13th, maybe. I think they'll in the end they'll be quite high. They haven't got the results this year, but I have been impressed with what I've seen. They look a good unit.
Would you be happy with that, Sam?
Yeah, I would take that. Yeah, I think around 14th. Hopefully, it's looking promising. And if we can just get the results, we'll be fine.
And on you, because obviously I speak about us a lot and Suj banters a lot, so it's up to you to bring the calm and the wisdom. Where will Spurs finish in the league?
Third.
He's definitely staying. I'll tell him
there was thought in it. It didn't just trip off, but third.
I still think they'll have third. Yeah.
There's only one person on this conversation who thinks Spurs will finish third at the moment. I can assure you that is you, Sam.
Yeah.
Will we finish top four, Ricky?
Yes, but I think it will be in spite ourselves because the other teams are in a bit of a mess as well. If you had like a decent Arsenal, decent United, we wouldn't have a hope. I really don't think so. Obviously, you're not looking at top two; they're out. But yeah, I think we might just scrape it. But it's gonna go to the end. It's not gonna be comfortable. It won't be pretty either.
It was interesting. I don't know if it was. I think it must have been the sun when we had Adam on at 3-5, who's our Arsenal correspondent, and he said similarly he thinks Arsenal will probably finish top four, not because of Arsenal's strengths, but because of in spite of each other. We're all falling over each other. Leicester have put themselves in a great position, and actually of the four others in the big six at the moment, I'd probably fancy Chelsea to finish highest at the moment.
Yeah, I would have said Chelsea and then Man United.
Just because there's a positivity around the club.
Yeah, they're scoring goals. So
they're only going to get better. They are going to get better and progress as the season goes on. And they still might even sign some players in January as well. That obviously that's still a bit up in the air. I'm hoping they don't. But that team is only going to get better. And they're going to have a really strong second half to the season. And if we're behind them come like January, February, we possibly won't catch them.
Ooh, it's a bold prediction there.
I think the top four this year could be under 70 points to get in it.
Wow.
Yep.
That's not normal.
Interesting to see. Guys, we just wanted to say thank you again for the articles and the fun and humour that you bring to the website with the articles that you submit and the interaction on Twitter and all the rest of that kind of stuff. It's always good fun and games.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the podcast again.
No problem at all. And we'll be keeping a keen eye on the score for James's 3-3 prediction at half time, but some more realistic ones.
I might have a couple of quid on that. It's got half a chance, that one.
You're flusher than me. I was only going to put 50p on it for a laugh, and just in case it did come in at 1,000 to 1.
12:30 kickoff. Like I need it to be 3-3 by 1:15. It's the wife's birthday Saturday as well.
Ooh.
She will not be happy if I come home in the state.
There we go. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in to Clash of the Correspondents for this week's show. We're coming at you again tomorrow with The Final Plan, which is our deadline day or the day before deadline day this week show where we run down our North v South teams, regular FPL teams, differential team, my wild card, which is not very wild at the moment because I haven't touched it in 3 days,
and find out if I bottle captain Harry Kane this week, like I promised I would.
Nah, well, it's put the jitters on yesterday. I didn't realise yesterday I was going to put the jitters on your Harry Kane captaincy. Of course it has, yeah. Ooh, there we go.
No, I'm all on Harry. No problems.
There we go. But thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Do hit like, subscribe, share, all that other stuff that you're supposed to do. Comment below if you agree with any of the predictions and stuff like that. And we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
Fantasy Football Show.